A game that had completely missed my release radar for this year was Metal Max Xeno Reborn, a JRPG with tanks and an adorable dog that is coming out on the 10th. I was offered a code and took it as I remembered I'd heard about this JRPG before and thought it looked interesting, and while there's certainly a lot of enjoyable freedom to be had in this world, I did find some differences between the opening hours of the original I liked the look of and this new Reborn version that had me wondering which one I would prefer, as one of them seems more story-based than the other. That's not to say that Metal Max Xeno Reborn isn't enjoyable, especially if you like the rare chance to drive in an RPG, but it's also an experience I think will be appreciated most by fans of the series rather than new ones, as I found it hard to find meaning in its vast apocalyptic world. I jumped into Metal Max Xeno Reborn based on the description that it was a post-apocalyptic JRPG with tanks, and it's certainly that when you jump into it, with it not really being much more. You're dropped into the Xeno Reborn universe as protagonist Talus, running down a corridor full of enemies and items, not really knowing why, then finding a tank, and if you don't miss the building that gets you into the main story like I did twice, you'll get brought into Iron Base, which becomes your base of operations going forward in the story, giving you missions to complete to give you some purpose in its wide and open feeling world. If you're just looking to play around, this is probably premise enough to give you some stuff to do, and it's through this I was able to find side quests to recruit 2 party members, a drunk at the bar that was impressed with the booze I'd picked up outside, and the adorable dog Pucci, who joined my party after I left some ant legs for him. This enriched my playthrough a little as someone who usually enjoys story-based games, and I was expecting this kind of thing from Metal Max Xeno Reborn, as I'd been a little interested in the original years ago after seeing some people enjoy it. But Metal Max Xeno has been reborn in this new version to largely be stripped of its story, which did disappoint me after I checked its old trailers, and seeing that this experience likely wasn't going to grow on this very little premise it showed made me decide to leave it alone, as even though I know its story has its critics, simply leaving it in would make it feel like a more complete journey than just getting hit by enemies way stronger than me for no apparent reason as I tried to progress. The original looks like it has logical progression for the enemies you're running into, rather than just randomly getting destroyed by the first mark you see, which makes that version seem much more appealing to me personally, but it's not to say that Reborn isn't fun in its own way, especially I imagine if you've played the first game. It just felt much more like a big open post-world game than a world I could get to know, which is a shame, as with a sequel coming and with it being the first Metal Max entry on Switch, this may be where some start with the series, and I wonder if others will feel the confusion I did, as the context for the world just wasn't there in this one in spite of it being fun. As I said, it's not to say I didn't enjoy my time in Metal Max Xeno Reborn, more that I wanted a fuller experience from it. I did have fun riding around in my tank and getting first strikes on enemies that made it feel like an action game, then enjoying the shift into turn-based battles when enemies were stronger that made for a unique battle system. I did also feel like I was missing some info on how to effectively make my tank stronger, as the marks were really taking my tank down in one hit at times, which I originally tried to combat by adjusting my tank and grinding a little, but the lack of meaningful quests meant I didn't stick with it in the end, despite there being some fun to be had just trying stuff in the world that made when something did happen like its fun side quests fun in its own way. There is a satisfaction to be found just from running around and doing stuff, like finding out I could paint my tank pink, but without any story to drive me to keep playing, despite finding it very interesting to see areas I visited in Tokyo in a post-apocalyptic form, I couldn't find much beyond that to make me want to keep playing. I felt like I didn't have a bad experience though, purely since this made me realize the importance of good story and gameplay together in JRPGs, which is something I've been thinking about after my experience with certain games this year, and like the games that had leaned in the other direction, made me realize why I wasn't satisfied with this experience either. I hope those who have already enjoyed both sides of gameplay and story in the old Metal Max Xeno, or those who are looking for a sandboxy world to run around in, have more fun than I did, but for me, my couple of hours in the world were enough to understand it was fun, but not the story-driven gameplay experience that I was hoping for. While Metal Max Xeno has been reborn in the sense of including new party members like the adorable Pucci and giving a different gameplay experience, it forgets to provide the comforts of the original for new players in story and progression that left me, someone trying it for the first time, wishing that I'd tried its original version instead. It did introduce me to its interesting systems though. I like the idea of running around its big areas in a tank and feeling tough, just with more missions and story to give it meaning. But if that story element isn't something you're looking for, it could be a fun thing to have on a console if you just want to muck around in a big world. For me though, it at least made me more interested to try the original, which maybe is not the best thing for this new Reborn version. And while I hope those who know the series better than me have a more fun time with it, for new players it's hard to recommend, as in some ways it can feel like a vast world that isn't really taking you anywhere. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to try Metal Max Xeno Reborn, and if you have, what did you think of it? And let me know what you thought of the original if you played it too. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below. Thank you to PCube for the code, and until next time, thank you. Bye!